Welcome back, guys. This is the Joe Bro Show. So we just wanted to give a little shout out, and we had something really special planned for you guys this week. But if you stay tuned, you'll have that episode next week. We had one of our fellow Dro Bros had something come up, so this week we pulled an audible. We hope you could stay tuned and enjoy the conversation we have ahead. Thanks.
Peace.
Through the smoke-filled clouds of the 303, all the way down to the 505. This is the Dro Bro Show with Primo Vinci, Grimex, and Soul Doja. Yeah, the Dro Bro Show.
What's up, everybody? This is Mr. Vicious Remo Vinci, and we are back with episode 25 of the Dro Bro Show. And I am back as usual with my fellow Dro Bro again. Grimex, what's up, my brother? How you doing?
What's up? So hopefully Doge makes it on the next episode because it's our 6 month episode. Definitely, that's going to be a special one. Now that we've moved the episode to next week, I think that's going to be a really good episode. And stay tuned for that. So this week, because we had to plan an audible, what we decided to do is another free form one. And honestly, we kind of talked about it. We want to take this in another spiritual journeys type direction. And I do want to talk about some things before we get too far into this. So something I had mentioned to the guys before, because I wanted to get into getting on people that had inspired us. And I've been listening to Joe Dispenza a lot lately. And it's really been a slap in my face in my own growth. And so, not to say that that any person out there is bad, but if I'm correct in this, then all of us have one single goal. Okay. And this goal is that every day we're better than we were the day before. And with that being said, there's a lot that you can correct. Some of the things that he's saying in his lectures, but then his meditation to reprogram your mind, it's phenomenal. So, anyways, some of the things, for instance, let me give some examples. Are you and I have kids. You go home, you got to start doing stuff for the kids. You're doing stuff at the house. You're either cooking dinner, you're doing laundry, you're doing these other things, right? And through that routine, falling into this routine, then we start to neglect other things in our life, and we then become no longer mindful or observant, right? We're not in the moment anymore. Now we're reflecting on the things of our past. We're relating on the past instances that our neural pathways have created. So when, say, for instance, in a love situation and the love isn't reciprocated the way you want, and we had discussed this in the last time you and I were just on here on the spiritual journeys type discussion, is that love is interpreted differently due to the perspective of the person. So if the love isn't reciprocated in a certain way, there's neural pathways in your brain that are firing that relate to negative emotions that you've already associated to love. When that doesn't go your way, automatically your brain starts going into a survival mode. At that point, you're acting like you're attacked, or you're acting like in a different mind state than you would had you just existed in the present. Okay. But these are already mapped into our brain based off of past experiences that happen to us. So different things that associate to these certain triggers then cause our brain to react in a survival state. In that survival state, we start to act not like how we were meant to be. Okay. Or we cause ourselves stress and anxiety unnecessarily, because when you think about the past, it makes you more anxious. It causes anxiety. When you think about your future, you're trying to control what you cannot control. You're trying to plan for what you cannot control. And these things cause anxiety and stress, both of which that kill you. They take away from what the body is meant to do, which is heal itself. And the reason why I bring this up is because for those that have seen Doctor Strange, when he goes through his car accident and his hands are damaged, they give a few surgeries and they basically tell him that we can't operate on you. Or as far as we can go. If we go any further, you're not going to be able to use your hands. Your hands are basically as good as they're going to get. It's like, what am I going to do? I'm a brain surgeon, and now I can't even use my hands. How am I supposed to live? Starts researching on outside Western medicine ways, you know, to try to find ways to heal his hands or any way, anything that could work. In his research, he finds a guy who had 6 vertebrae that were broken in a way that could never be healed, and that he wasn't supposed to walk again. But yet somehow this guy miraculously recovered. And the reason why I bring this story up is because this very story is the same story of Joe Dispenza. They actually took his real life story and put it in a damn movie about a superhero. How freaking crazy! Okay, so since freaking, what was it? I think you said 1976. I think you said. He was in a triathlon. He was a chiropractor, and he was hit by a car, and it broke his vertebrae in 6 places. And they basically told him, "We'll operate on you, but you'll never walk again." At which point he has to go home. He said, "You're at a point where," he was a chiropractor. He doesn't believe a lot of what they said, but at this time, it's not okay to argue with the doctors. This was unheard of. But he's like, I kind of disagree. I think there could be something else. So he said at this point where he goes home, you're already going to be paralyzed for the rest of your life, whether you do something or you don't. So now what? He said at home, being alone, he had to understand that obviously he's here for a reason. Something kept him alive. He didn't die, so he's here. So if there's this power, if this existence, if there's a source, if there's a God, it kept him here. So what if he could tap into that power too? So through that, he really tried. And he talks about this as being a moment. When it happens, it's a moment, and they can't explain it. It's a type of ecstasy. And it's like the opposite of everything you've ever known in your life. When you reach this breaking point where you're gonna break or something's gonna happen, he said just it's a moment. And when he was told he was never going to walk again, in 10 weeks, he said he was walking. In 12 weeks, he was back to his normal life. And this caused him to want to start researching other miraculous recoveries. And every person that had a miraculous recovery, um, they basically all say the same thing, that it was just a moment. Like people who recovered from cancer and things like this. So at first, he wanted to start, after researching it and understanding that there is something that, now he wanted to see, can we teach people how to do it? So he started holding seminars, and at first it was a weekend thing. It was only 2 days. Get some results, but not the results he was wanting. So he went from 2 days to 4 days, 4 days to 5 days, 5 days to 7 days. And now he just finished his 50th 7-day week revival. Okay. And in these things, he said, in just this year alone, in 1 week, he's seen 2 people with MS who couldn't walk, who were wheelchair bound, stand up and walk again. Okay. One guy who had a 9.5-inch tumor on his kidney that was starting to cause fluid buildup in his body that was putting pressure on his lungs to where they couldn't operate. And somehow this guy healed himself, went to the doctor for 8 months every day without missing a day to prove that he did get rid of that cancer. And many stories like this. And he said that every seminar, every time he goes, it's the stories. And he says even when he hears the stories, he's just amazed at how much what he was putting out there helped people, right? And that's why I kind of wanted to talk about him, because in a lot of things he's saying, it really has helped me, because it's the things that we are distracted by. So look, check this out, dude. I'm going to take you down a more esoteric and occult path, but not in the way of talking about things that are uncomfortable. In this way of understanding. And as again, esoteric means for the few. So from the Shamayums, from the heavens, there's resonance. I've talked about this before, vibration, resonance. All matter is vibration. So light, vibration. Light creates colors. Colors all represent a vibration. Those vibrations hold a resonance. Those resonances are tied to emotions. Those emotions are tied to feelings and everything else. So as things trickle down from the heavens into physical reality, this vibration has to hold this certain resonance for a certain amount of time before it manifests into a physical reality. Okay. And that has manifested in physical reality the longest, stones, crystals, right? They hold the highest resonance of the energies from the heavens. Okay. That's why ancient occultists knew the power that crystals held, because they understood what they were, and that these are ancient things that hold the power from the heavens that have resonated here on earth for so long. That's why they hold that resonance. And so anyways, my point with this is that with this resonance, okay, matter is of the lowest vibrational thing. So understand this. We focus on the lowest vibrational things. We allow those to stress us out, cause us anxiety, bring our vibration down, which weakens this beautiful fucking construct, this biomolecular construct that was given to us as this vessel for our higher spiritual self to exist in, to partake in the spiritual journey. So when we do this, we become hyper focused in everything. Then you're starting to move from person to person, the next task to the next task. We're never taking our time to be present in the moment. And at which point, not only would our body serve us more properly, but we can serve the world more properly. We can serve ourselves more properly.
Oh, I like that. It's good stuff.
You know, and I know I'm going a little on another side of things, because this isn't stuff that's typically taught to people, right? Um, I
Well,
guess
I
it's
know that you like in our group chats and stuff, you've been sending us a few things with this guy. You know, I know he's definitely been somebody that's been inspiring for you and to you, especially more recently. So anything that inspires you is intriguing to me. You know what I mean? Because you know what, we've known each other for so long that I kind of know how you tick a little bit. You know what I mean? So if there's something that's that important to you, then I'll pay attention to it and I'll check it out. You know what I mean? Because I understand that kind of stuff. So, and I did. There was one that you sent. You sent a few of them, and there was one of them that wasn't that long. It was like 20 some minutes or so, and I was checking it out, and I liked what he had to say. This particular one was more about oh, how was it? I don't want to say it was like about relationships, but it was more about like just your inner dialogue. I think while you engage in certain relationships and whatnot. So I thought that was pretty cool. I liked how he was breaking some stuff down. So this guy definitely knows a thing or two and is helping some people out. So that's always good, you know. Um, Anybody that can be an inspiration to people and can make it a priority, you know, to help other people is okay in my book. You know what I mean? So
so, and I don't want to make the episode about him again. I just wanted to mention him for this context, and that, okay, see, for the story I just told, why I tell it is because I already understood what I was saying about the resonance, about light, about vibration. But for him to say how we focus on the lowest vibrational of everything, you don't
mhm,
see anything in this reality. What you see is the lowest vibration.
yeah.
And we focus on that, not widening our focus. So that's what he teaches in his meditations, is that you are nothing. When you approach it as I am Delane, I am 6 X, whatever I call myself, and I identify as that. And when I do that, closing my mind to the focus of this, instead of broadening my focus, that not that I'm nothing. I am nothing because I'm a part of everything. Okay.
Hmm.
I am not who I am because I am everyone. By being connected to Source, by Source connecting all of us, we are all interconnected and we all exist in this same space at the same time, having the same experiences, just with a different perspective. And so, just the way that he puts it into perspective helped me realize how much of it that I haven't seen yet. And again, right? This is why we were having a spiritual journeys conversation, is because this is a spiritual journey for all of us.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, and it takes many twists and turns, and our stories and our journeys kind of help inspire the others. The rest of us. Like I like to see what twists and turns happen on your journey. Because sometimes it could be the smallest thing that may impact me or may change my perspective or whatever. So, speaking of changing perspective, I think this is a very good time and
Yeah,
point to change a little perspective and connect us all like how we do every week. So go ahead and start us off, my brother. What you fucking with?
I just got Tangy Haze this week. No flour. Probably get some
No
flour
flour.
in a couple days. Didn't make it.
I still got my little bottom of the sack little blend. You know what I mean? What'd you call it? The Snickle
Nickel
Fritz?
Fritz.
Yeah. Still got that going on. But I'm fucking with some Granny's apple on the cart. So here's to you, my brother. And that has been the Dromit of the week. That was for you, Doge. I think AI got a hold of our brother, and he's being held in an undisclosed location against his will. But he looked awfully happy in the pictures.
Should have used a VPN. So, back to the story about the spiritual journey. So,
Yeah.
um, something I also want to say, because in this whole week, okay, because it took me some time to resonate, and even then, I started talking less and less with people by the end of the week, and then coming to this week, even less, and even at work, people were asking me what's wrong, is everything okay? That I check, you're not being how you normally are, and I told them I'm just really focusing on reprogramming my mind right now, like. And like I told you, like the reason why I haven't really called is I didn't want to commiserate. And by that I mean because it's human nature. When we talk to each other, we're going to vent about the things in our lives that bother us. But see, that's the thing I've been talking about before with manifestation. Okay. You were given this gift, and this is vibration, this is resonance. Speak it. It's one thing to think it. Like, and he also discusses this. And you could think it, don't just concentrate and focus on the thought of the negative of the thought, because that's your brain wired to already focus on that negativity. Instead, if you could focus, if you conceive the thought, what are the possibilities? If you could conceive that thought, yes, that's a negative thought, but what are your other possibilities? By understanding your infinite possibilities, you can change your focus, you can change the direction in real time. And so what I'm saying is that commiserating, human nature, right? We've been to each other. You may say things about what's going on in your life, what's going on around you, right? And when we do this, we're keeping these neural pathways in our brain that are allowing us to continue to think and focus on these things. And so, in a way of trying to reprogram myself, okay, and that's why they say sometimes you need solitude, and that's truth. In your spiritual journey, you really need a lot of solitude, because and as an individual in an individual journey, it's very hard to have other people help you through it when it is an individual thing. Some things that there's people can't help you with, they could tell you what's helped them, they may not help you. So in certain instances, you really do have to suffer and endure yourself, but what comes out on the other end is what you were meant to be, right? You have to officially let this thing die, because obviously where you're at, what's happened in your life, it's not where you wanted to be, it's not what you wanted, what you perceive for yourself. And why is that? Because you identified as this being that's sitting here as opposed to what everything is. So we limited ourselves, we held ourselves back, and we focused on lower vibrational frequency things.
Hmm. That's pretty heavy, yo. I know. Just being mindful of where you're at and what kind of state you're allowing yourself to be in is a big deal. And just to have the self-awareness to be able to control that, or not even control that, but to appreciate that and to see it and see it in real time is a big step, you know? So if you could get there, then what you're saying from there to be able to kind of control it from that point and to be able to change the course of it and the route of it all is a pretty heavy task, I think, for a lot of us, for most of us, you know, because we live in a world that's constantly full of distractions. And like, if you're, you know, if anybody else out there is like me, you know, like my anxiety will pull me in 15 different directions. So it's kind of tough to have that kind of focus, that singular focus, you know. So I think that's why they call a lot of this kind of stuff, like, you know, in the medical field, a practice, because you have to practice at all of these kind of things. You know what I mean? This isn't something that,
In metaphysics, that's what they call the highest knowledge in human nature. Okay, is knowing metaphysics, and it takes a lot of studying, a lot of time, a lot of effort, and that's why they say that it's not meant for everybody, right? Because to attain the highest knowledge, well, how are you going to do that? You have to work for it. You're not just going to be, oh, I want knowledge, and all of a sudden, boom, it's on you, and now you got it. No, you have to work for it. You have to study. You have to practice.
I mean, everything worth anything takes some work, you know, and it takes some practice. So I think that's something that I try to keep with me as often as possible. Is like that, just that mindfulness technique, just kind of understanding where I'm at in the moment and what I'm bringing to the table in that moment and who it's affecting. You know what I mean? Who it's
So
affecting directly and indirectly, which is very difficult to do.
once you feel that you're comfortable at that point, then start taking it to the next step, which the next step is what I talked about. I don't remember what show it was on at the moment, where I talked about the Kabbalistic tree of life and the three ways. The middle way, you have an Ahrimanic and a Luciferic path as well, the pillars of severity and pillars of wisdom. Now, like for instance, you're sitting down and you want to look at your phone, or you're thinking about something, you're like, oh, I got to shop, I got to order this, or oh, I want to see what's on Facebook, or I got to see what's on Instagram, right? And here, now you're acting like an animal. So now your conscious mind has to tell yourself, no, you need to stay in the moment. You need to focus right now, and tell yourself, you got to tame this beast, okay? But see, this is Ahrimanic influence, technology, okay? Being of that sort outside of yourself and of a negative thing outside of yourself, those are Ahrimanic influences. Now, Luciferic example. When I wake up in the morning, you feel comfortable, you don't want to get up, you think that there's better things I could do with my time, and you start to dwell on the things that you could be doing outside of what you have to get up and do. That's your illusory path given to you by the Luciferic spirit, telling you that you can do all of these other things, right? But see, if you give in too much to that, then you're not paying your taxes. You could give in to drug addictions, all of these different things that could happen to you in your life if you're not focusing on that middle. Sometimes there are some things that you have to do, you have to endure, and that's just part of the growth, you know. And I agree, that's the part I have to fight many times with myself. It's like, why do I have to get up and go to work? We are not meant to do this, okay? And I get it, that's my spirit fighting my physical self, but in this physical reality, for the moment, it's something I have to do.
Yep, I agree. And I think like that's a great example of like those internal battles that we have on a daily basis. You know what I mean? On a daily basis, we have things like that. And you know, it's a lot to be said about those of us that are fighting that good fight. You know what I mean? And continue to keep going and keep pushing, because it's not easy. And it's very mundane. You know, a lot of times the routine, it can get that way, and it can be kind of discouraging, you know, because a lot of times I know myself, like I'm not making the kind of money I wish I could be making, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. I'm not financially well off like I would like to be and whatnot, you know. I don't feel as secure for my family's future as I would like
Yet, yet,
yet. But you know what I'm
gotta
saying?
say, I'm working towards it and I am becoming better. See, because what you just said are all the things that created a negative vibrational resonance and allowed chaos into your life.
Well, damn, how about that already? Well, that was a live demonstration of how
No, and
of
this is what
how
I'm
you
saying
just
about
flip.
retraining the mind and why I've had to really focus. And I'm not saying I'm perfect, but how else do you focus? See the
Well,
distractions in life.
and that's the practice. Like, how else are you supposed to stay on it if you're not on it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
No,
mucho
so and it's in the way you
mucho
word it.
appreciation, mofo.
It's not that you can't say these things. So as what he was saying is that I'm not in the place that I want to be financially yet, but I am working towards my goal and I will soon be there. You word it that way. See, the universe, God, source, whatever, it's listening. That resonance carries. And what you speak is what's drawn to you. So when this is the other thing, and this really hit me, dude, and it's not like my room's a mess. You know what I mean? But there are things that made me understand certain things. So in your room, this is your sacred place to go away from the world, to rest and recuperate, to meditate, to have prayer, to have your own relationship here in this safe place. But is it a safe place if you keep bills inside your room that causes anxiety about thinking about money? Is it a safe place if you hold on to clothes that are from a past relationship that hold negative memories, or items that perhaps carry a negative memory? Are those things okay to have around you? How do you think that's going to influence you seeing it on a day-to-day basis? And so until you clear the clutter out of your life physically, and it doesn't always have to be physically, but remove the things with the negative resonance from your place of maintaining
I
yourself.
mean,
And then that starts already with a more powerful mindset to begin your day with instead of starting it with negative focuses.
I like that. I like it a lot. One of my brothers, uh, one of our brothers, I should say, brother Mike, somebody I'd love to get on the show and get his interview. Told me something one time that it was important for him when he was going through some of his shit when he was deployed to make sure he would take his time brushing his teeth every day, because if all else failed throughout the day, at least he was able to start his day off being able to do something good for himself, and to be able to take care of himself in a certain way. You know what I mean? So the brush, he told me, make sure whatever you're going through, make sure you wake up and brush your teeth every day. You know, and it sounds funny, but the way he said it, and the way that it all happened was really quite substantial. You know what I mean? And like it has a lot of that same type of a feeling there. You know what I mean? So I think it's important for us to hold on to those little things that can become bigger things. You know, if you hold on to them and you stay consistent.
A little thing for me, that a little trope like that you're talking about has been never cheat on these things. You don't cheat on your wife, and you don't cheat on anything between you and the ground. That means you don't cheat on your shoes, you don't cheat on your tires, and you don't cheat on your bed.
Hmm.
Because all of these things are going to make you have a miserable fucking time if you cheat on one or the other. You know what I mean? And so to avoid that, that's just something I've always thought, right?
Hmm.
Because I mean, if
I've,
you're on your
I've heard
feet all day, that shit sucks.
I've heard a similar thing like about your car and your woman. Like you never skimp out on either one of those. You know what I mean? But I like the additions that you have to it. I like that a lot. That's pretty good.
So I guess getting into our spiritual journey. So um Remo, do you want to talk about any of the things like that you go through, like on a day-to-day basis, like examples or anything for the audience that maybe they could relate? And the reason why I bring this up is because for me personally, I don't know about you, but I've gotten the better feedback from our episodes that are more like this, where we're discussing things like this, topics like this. I feel like people say they like to hear our perspectives, other people's perspectives on something that, we're all just trying to figure it out.
Um, I don't know if I could say that I've gotten more feedback on those episodes. I feel like it's probably equal across the board. I've had people that are fans of our hot tag. I've had people that really like our movie breakdowns and stuff like that, or our interviews. So I don't know. I really couldn't say one way or the other as far as that goes. But what were you asking about an example for? You wanted me to give you an example for what now?
Like just for our viewers, anything like in your own spiritual growth. So like, for example, I gave my not wanting to wake up in the morning or with the phone. Okay, like for instance, that's something I not that I'm always on my phone, but when I find myself wanting to look at it, and I
Mhm.
understand I'm finding myself wanting to look at it, I'm trying to
Mhm.
restrain myself like a dog,
Okay.
like tell
So
myself to sit, be still. No, you don't need that.
yeah. So like these rewiring techniques almost. So lately, like if I'm taking myself to like a place that's unnecessary, because I'm someone that's like a chronic self-doubter. I talk a lot of shit to myself inside here. You know what I'm saying? Unhealthily, and I probably have been for most of my life. So it's something that I've been working towards for a long time, really. But lately, um, once I feel myself taking myself to that place, um, and I recognize it, I'll like immediately start praying like an Our Father or something like that. You know what I mean? To just completely switch my mindset. And usually it works. Usually I'm able to let go of whatever the anxiety was that was holding me in that moment and making me do whatever I was doing. Or like I feel like I've made a lot of other area like giant leaps in areas of growth where I haven't always been so graceful to myself for, and I think that having a conversation with the Lord and acknowledging those kind of things and thanking him for getting me through that and for continuing that growth and for helping me like kind of level up. I think that's been important. I think the acknowledgement has been important for me instead of just keep on living like it ain't no thing. I think to take the time to sit back and be like, you know what, this is where I was, and I didn't think I was ever going to get out of that spot or that mindset or whatever. And now I'm here, and I'm almost here, and this is where I was trying to get the first place, and I didn't even think I was going to get there to begin with. So to see myself be that close, I know it's because of you, like I obviously I had to show up and I had to do my part, but if I didn't do that, you definitely had to carry me the rest of the way, and there's been those times where I stumbled and I failed and whatnot, but I still tried to show up every day. So that continued growth, it's important to take the time out and congratulate yourself and celebrate yourself and to give thanks also for the allowance of that happening, at least for me. So those are examples where I feel like I do something specific or whatnot to help my continued growth and in the journey, and something that I could try to use to change my mindset when I'm falling into those gray areas. Because trust me, there's a million potholes that we could fall into and bust a tire on. You know what I mean? And
So
so,
that was
so
That's very beautifully related. What it reminds me of, I had to bring it up. If you don't mind, I'd like to read it. It reminds me of a poem. It's
Please.
called Footprints. Okay. And this has resonated with me for so many years. Seen
Mm-hmm.
it on my brother-in-law Chad's uncle's fucking wall when I was fucking 19 years old, and it's stuck with me since. And I've always remembered it. This poem is called Footprints, okay, or Footprints in the Sand. If you look it up, it's one or the other, but you can find it if you look it up.
No,
And it
I
goes,
love it.
one night, a man had a dream. He dreamed he was walking along the beach with the Lord, and across the sky flashed scenes from his life. For each scene, he noticed two sets of footprints in the sand. One belonged to him, and the other to the Lord. And when the last scene of his life flashed before him, he looked back at the footprints in the sand, and he noticed that many times along the path of his life, there was only one set of footprints. He also noticed that it happened at the very lowest and saddest times in his life. This really bothered him, and he questioned the Lord about it. Lord, you said that once I decide to follow you, you'd walk with me all the way. But I have noticed that during the most troublesome times of my life, there's only one set of footprints. I don't understand when I needed you the most, why you would leave me. The Lord replied, my precious, precious child, I love you and I would never leave you. And during your times of trial and suffering, when you see only one set of footprints, it was then that I carried you. But I
Yeah,
think
I
that
love
just,
that one.
like I
I've
said,
seen it on prayer cards. I've seen it on wall art, you know what I mean, in bathrooms and whatnot, and wherever, in hallways and in places everywhere. Like, it's very popular, and it is for a reason, because it's beautiful. Like, how beautifully said and put, and how true is that? You know what I mean? Like, how many times has the Lord really carried us? You know, I know in my life, gosh, I couldn't even, there's probably more times than I would even know, than I would even realize, you know, that he actually was carrying me through some of my shit. So that's powerful stuff. I'm glad you read that, man, because that's one of my favorites too, bro. I really like that one a lot.
yeah, I had to mention it because what you were saying that really resonated with that poem. And I felt like
Hell
that
yeah.
was the moment to have to say it, you know.
Hell yeah, that's dope, bro. Um, I don't know, man. What else did you want to get into about some of the growth and faith journeys and whatnot?
I don't know. I think we covered it pretty good for today. I mean, as far as that goes, because we got,
Okay.
and I feel like I took up most of the discussion now.
No, I like it, man. I like it when you're throwing down some of that knowledge. You know what I mean? Um, you're kind of like our resident historian. You know what I mean? Or the recorder. You know, you're the guy that gives us all the info and the stats and stuff. So I like that kind of shit. So I did feel like there was one more thing, but it's not coming to me right now.
Same
But
here. I feel like that we're missing something, but
I mean, to be honest with you, it'll probably always feel that way because these journeys are never over. There's always more to it. There's
oh,
always more that we could
that is
actually.
one idea I wanted to put in there. Obviously, you lose track of thought, right? Because you're listening, and when you're trying to observe another person and observe what they're saying, and then so, if you're not trying to be in your mind, again, this is the key. And you said it before that the key is that you have to be mindful. And if you can't be mindful, okay, and this is what you have to work on, you're only going to get out of it what you put into it. So no one's perfect. So only what you're willing to give into it is what you're going to get out of it. So, for instance, the thoughts, okay, when you were saying that about being a negative person, beating yourself up sometimes more than is necessary sometimes. And I resonate with that because I want to say about 2018 is where this path really took off, where I had to really understand and really focus on the fact that I did a lot of negative speak to myself. So the only way you're going to break yourself of that, and this is what worked for me, you know, and it's still an ever going process. I still catch myself every once in a while. And when I do, you have to just wipe that thought out and know I am what God created me to be. I am that perfect being. Okay. I may not be what I consider perfection, but to what I was created for, I am at that level of perfection, and I need not to bash myself. I need to not doubt my skills or my talents. I just need to focus and believe what was given to me and the abilities that I have. Okay. So these are the self talks that I have to do. But you have to be aware, and you have to be aware when it's happening and when you're doing it to yourself, and then really just break it.
No, I love that, bro. And you know these opportunities when that mindfulness technique comes up, you know, of being aware and being in the moment and knowing that is kind of tough, you know. So, you know,
Yeah.
I know, again, you know, like I am not very good to myself as far as those mental health moments go. You know what I mean? So I definitely am one of those people that you're talking to right now. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to get through it day by day, just like all the rest of us are. You know, because it's an ever flowing journey. You know, this thing we call life. So I appreciate all of it, man. I appreciate all the discussion, all the love right there. And for anybody else out there, you know, if you're trying to figure out better mindfulness techniques, there's lots and lots of videos and media out there on different types of styles and things that you can do to help yourself out and to help those around you. If you're somebody that knows somebody that could use some of that assistance, as Grim celebrates our episode here, I think it's a beautiful thing, and maybe we should make this more of a fixture in some of our stuff, or maybe we could just get our spiritual journeys going and keep doing it weekly. But we could get into these kind of discussions as often as possible. So let us know how y'all feel about it. Let us know if you're digging it or not. If you want to have us get more in depth about it. I know we're kind of vague in some of this stuff. We're just kind of touching the surface of a lot of it all. So if you want to see us get a little further into it, let us know that too. You know,
And I
like,
do
comment.
want to leave last point though before we start closing up is that I may have made it sound like it's this journey that has an end. I don't want to give this misconception of that. This journey does not have an end. Okay. And I don't mean to dull anybody down who want to partake on this journey, who want to start, who want to continue, who want to walk the path. But the path is very hard. Thing is you're only going to get what you put into it. And that's the point of it. And if you want to grow, you want to become the better you, then you have to go through this. And there is no end. It's just a matter of correcting yourself daily, yearly, and then for centuries. As our higher spiritual self starts to resonate closer to that of Source and we start to become one with Source again. But the only way to reach that point is to continue down the spiritual path. If we're not continuing to correct ourselves and become better than we were than the last day, then how can you have a connection with Source again? How can we become that one again? If we just continue to remain our focus on these lower vibrational things that keep us perceiving different. And because you perceive different, you perceive separate, and you perceive separate from yourself. And that's what allows for us to stay separate.
It's a lot to chew on, my brother. That's good stuff. Well, again, like I said, if y'all are feeling it, let us know. If y'all want more of it, let us know. Um, it is starting to be football season again, as you can tell. So that's kind of funny how we be having to throw a lot of audibles out there right now because that's what's going to be happening. Um, Next week we'll have Doge back and we'll be back to regular scheduled programming. I feel like we've said that before. But all jokes aside, though, we miss you, my brother. Safe travels. Hope to see you back soon. And is there anything else that we needed to do before our salute?
Yeah, I wasn't mocking when I'm celebrating. What I was celebrating is the beauty of life. And I know it seems jovial, but sometimes life has to be jovial, right? And I'm a Star Wars fan. I feel like Yoda was always about like letting go, being at peace. Wu Wei, the way of letting go and not being, right? Just being is the point of existing. And all of this is important because Sometimes if you don't have a smile or you don't have joy in your heart, then you're always just going to see the negativity in the world. Sometimes you have to put that on and fake it till you make it, until you can get to that point where it becomes a natural thing. And with that being said, we would like to offer a salute to all of our butt wipes out there who clean up that shitty smell, and they help clean up all the shit in the world.
Making the world a better place. Thank you very much. Very beautifully said, man. That was awesome. All of that was great. That was a great ending right there. I can't even say anything to make it any better.
It's been on my mind for a while, so this was things like, I guess I've been on my mind in case we had to pull audibles. And it's been a discussion between you and I for a long time.
Yep. Well, luckily we got each other to lean on in times of need, and then those audibles are there, and able to pull them off pretty well, I think. So, thank you guys for tuning in. This has been a shorter episode of the Dro Bro Show, but it's been a pretty good one. I like it. It was nice. So let us know how y'all are feeling it. This has been episode 25 of the Dro Bro Show. For my brother Grimex and for Doge in the land of the lost. This has been the Dro Bro Show. We out. Peace.
Hi, guys.